And we are a go on YouTube. Give me 1 second here.
Build it and they will come.
All right. Welcome everybody. Let us know you're here. Drop your name in the chat or say howdy, something. We'll get rolling here a little bit.
Say anything. Let us know you're there. It's been one hell of a week. It's been pretty boring for me because I've been bed bound.
Yeah, I can imagine. So having to go there first. But
Ed's in, shock, first one.
Yeah. We've got Alice Stoney is on Instagram, I think. Thanks for joining us on Instagram.
Hello, Alice.
A few more people. We are going to dive into episode 3, the episode that has ruined Star Wars, apparently. So, if you're looking, if you didn't like it, that's fantastic. You're allowed not to like something. Let's have a civil conversation about it, not just, Kennedy's ruining Star Wars.
Let us know why.
I'm a little bit over that already.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Indeed, we will. I don't think it's that bad as everyone is making out. But obviously, everyone's got their own feelings towards it.
And I'll show you that, like, 2 of the largest YouTube channels in the country. I mean, I don't think it matters. Like, we've got Star Wars Theory and we've got Critical Drinker. He has over 2 million followers. Theory has 3, maybe and a half by now, and they are just destroying the show if they don't like it. And they have their reasons. I don't know how much hello Lyric, how are you? How much, I just don't watch their shows anymore. I can't take it. I can't take the hate. Some of the stuff that they say is just, he came on at one point and was talking about, let's be civil and all this stuff. And then just that all goes out the window as soon as he sees something. I know that helps get him followers as well, but we're going to kind of dive into stuff. Oh, here we go. We got Ed Fridays here. Hey, Ed. We've got Wayne. We got some of our usual suspects here on YouTube. We've got some people joining us. We got Space for Toys on Instagram. Some other people. Big Ed's got nothing bad to say about it. I have a few bad things, little nitpicks. Wasn't perfect, but we talked about a little bit on the reaction show. That reaction show is kind of difficult with episodes like this because, man, there's so much to unpack, just kind of all over the place. And I feel like we miss stuff, but it's good that we do these kind of recaps so that people can see what we're talking about. And I want to hear from other Star Wars fans. I sit there and I read stuff, and I see I've left a lot of Facebook groups in the last 2 weeks because I know I've told Jack this. I haven't told a lot of people, but for whatever reason, man, some of the stuff that people were saying, and I wasn't the biggest fan of, like, Book of Boba Fett or even Kenobi, who was one of my favorite characters. I wasn't a huge fan of that show, some of the stuff about it, but I would never say anything or do anything like some of these people were saying. Just absolutely insane, just hate mongers out there. But I've got this. So we're going to talk about, really our focus is going to be episode 3, Destiny. This is the first one that we've talked about. This only had one title, right? Because the last 2 have had, Lost and Found, Justice and Revenge. And from what I'm to understand, and I do watch some other content creators. But some of them got to sit down with Leslie Headland, and some things were discussed that they're now just kind of coming out with. Ed Friday says, what does he say? Jack will say no, but I'm still going to say the twins are some sort of early clones. Okay. Yeah, we'll get into that, Ed, kind of what we think, because that's the thing that's ruining canon, according to a lot of people, that these women were able to do this and other people couldn't. But we're going to talk about some of the complaints that we've heard. But Jack, why don't you just start us off right off the bat? Because you weren't on the you weren't on the recap show. Tell everybody, where do you stand with this episode? You were pretty in the first two. You liked
Yeah,
with a 9 and an 8 or 8.5 for the first two shows.
yeah.
So where are we standing at?
There's not a great deal of action, which I'm not massively bothered about. I can relate this to. I was talking to some of the explorers about this as well. I sort of relate this to like Rogue One, a bit of Solo the movie, where there's not a lot of lightsabers, there isn't that much action happening as often as you'd want there to be. But in terms of story and lore and a bit of filler, which I think's been needed, I think it's been fantastic. Obviously, I've got a few gripes, which are only minor gripes. Like it's nothing major. It's nothing. It's nothing. I don't think you just turn around and go, "It's Star Wars." Things aren't supposed to happen like that, or if they do happen like that, it's Star Wars. But in terms of the storyline, I think it's fantastic. You've got to remember as well. This goes back to the Phantom Menace stuff. The two main actors in this episode, ultimately, are children as well.
Yeah.
And this is my big thing with the Skeleton Crew that's coming up shortly, but that's a whole different topic. People have got to go easy. These are child actors. You've still got the top rated actors like Carrie-Anne Moss in this as well. For me, the acting was okay. wasn't brilliant. I can see some people's gripes to a degree, but again, it's probably because they're working with children. Might not have worked with children before, or might not have worked with children that sort of set. But yeah, overall, if I was to rate this show, as we were doing on the reaction one for the pips out of 10, this would get a solid 7 for me. Seven pips out of 10.
See, it's funny, is I have you were on the high end for the first two, and I was a smidge lower than you guys. We know we had Marie on the show with us.
Yeah.
And then this episode, I feel like it's been my favorite so far because of the storytelling and how it ties into some different things that are going on in Star Wars canon. So, but yeah, so I mean, you still like it? Would you give it a 75 out of 7.5 or whatever?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I kind of echo some of those things. In my notes, I wrote, I don't like the ship. Like I don't like that Jedi starfighter. Like I think it looks like Battlestar Galactic to me. But I'm not, they've ruined Star Wars. That's something I don't like. Boo-hoo for me. I just don't like it. That's fine. I mean, I didn't like the ships in Kenobi, although most people didn't like the ships in Kenobi. But and it's just an aesthetic thing. It's nothing to do with. I mean, I don't know what else it could be, but I don't like those. And I thought that the twins, the two young girls, and I don't have their names off the top of my head, but they were fine. People are ripping their writing and stuff like that, but it's hard to get kids twins. I mean, you're in a pretty small window of you got to find specific twins that look like the main actress. It's not like you have all these human beings you can go get. But I thought it was fine. I think that there's a lot of things that people are missing about the twins specifically. Though, I like the fact that their really names are Mayho and Varosha. Like it's not just, got a little bit more background there. So Anthony Goodman says, "Hey dudes, what's up, Anthony?" But
yeah, there's a lot more than meets the eye to this episode as well, because again, a lot of things that I've seen is, how's it burnt down so easy, or how has this come about so easy, etc., etc. And I think that's purposely been done as well in a way, because we've got to remember when Leslie was promoting all this, she said that we're going to see this from a Sith's point of view. This isn't from a Jedi's point of view. We're used to seeing the Sith being the ultimate bad guys, or the Empire being the ultimate bad guys. In this now, you can start to see it where the Jedi aren't as innocent as they seem, because again, something's happened with the Jedi, especially Torben to end himself. Something happened up there with all those bodies. I think it doesn't quite sit right as well, and I think as well it's a bit extreme to the levels they go to get the girls.
Yeah, I honestly, that's one of the things I was talking about with. See if I can bring it up here. One of the things I was talking about with some of the content creators that got to sit down with Leslie Headland, be like new rock stars and things like that, Eric Voss and those guys. they talked about this episode specifically, right? And it's supposed to have guided us in the fact that like episodes 1 and 2 had the 2 titles, so you're seeing it from May and Osha's viewpoint. And then in this one, Destiny, you're seeing it from Osha's viewpoint. And there was a 1950s movie called Rashomon, and it's I believe a Japanese story that comes from all these different angles. And supposedly either episode 4 or 5 is going to be like from another version of it. But there's no way that just taking these kids, because that's the one thing I left. I was, we sat there and we had a little therapy on Tuesday night with the Brandalorian, his brother Jamal, and Tiara joined us again. We're just kind of talking like, there's no way that's what pushed a Jedi Master over the top, so there's definitely more to come. I think that, it does. I'm not going to lie to you and say it doesn't bother me. We got Mike here. The ships look from an earlier area, which is it. It's not a great design, but it fits. Yeah.
I agree. I agree with Mike with that, mate, as well. I'm sort of with the ship didn't look great, but I weren't too bothered because I looked at it. I thought that's super clean, looks big and clunky. And I instantly thought High Republic era. So like Mike's saying there, to me, that made sense.
Yeah. I don't feel like they don't transition for me from the High Republic to Phantom Menace, though. Like, I feel like there's a big gap in between. But 100 years, think about how much cars have changed in 100 years. So I'll give that one to you guys. I would be like, if I was a ship designer on Corellia, I'd be changing the format as fast. And Wayne says, fire didn't kill all those witches. Yeah, that's what, we're kind of talking about.
Well,
there's definitely something. And I think that's because you still have the fight scene with Kalnaka and Torben and even Master Soul possibly.
I agree with Wayne as well. And like, just going back to that comment that Wayne made about fire didn't kill all those witches. I've had the luxury of watching it a few times because I'm still bedbound at the minute. You don't see any burn marks, or they're not burnt or anything like that either. And just thinking back now, I'd like to go back and try and see if there's any saber marks, blaster marks, anything like that. But I think part of me as well is hoping. Ed's literally just said that as well. Look, part of me is literally hoping it's a case of they have done it intentionally. Because if they haven't done it intentionally, then we're gonna look back on this episode, I think, and go, wow, that was a shocking episode. If they have done it intentionally, people are going to look back and go, I feel a bit of an idiot now because I said this, and this.
Well, that's the problem, though, is people won't go back and say that they're idiots. They'll just be like, and I hate even using like, these lesbian witches. Well, they just, they're going to say some crazy, negative, hateful stuff. Friday says the witches were not burnt, no explosions. I think we're definitely going to have another snippet to what happened. There's no way. That fire spread so quickly. We don't know what's inside that accelerant. Like maybe that's some kind of super accelerant. Like we don't know these things. And instead of like just hating it and like, just give it time to unfold. At the end of 8 episodes,
then we can go back.
Let's go back. And we will on this show. And we'll probably have a high council meeting and we'll bring people in and we will, chatting with the King of Wales earlier, looked somebody tinkering with the generator on a facility. Yeah, that's a good point too, because what she starts the fire and all of a sudden Master Soul's just there, poof, so it's either bad writing or something else is going on. So
I think it's going to be genius writing.
I think so.
It's going to link up. It has to, surely. It's got to. But yeah, again, we've just got to give it time, like we keep saying, see what happens. Obviously, what else we got here from Ghost? What's he put on there? Honestly, come.
Well, a coven of witches, like that's been something throughout history. Like, I mean, this is not a new thing. Like, these coven of witches, it's all women. Well, that's because it's a coven of witches, not a coven of wizards. They haven't changed that yet. But I mean, I'm not saying that. I think everyone needs to be represented, and they're doing a good job of that in different places. And people who don't like that can be sad about it.
I think people though blow it out of proportion and make it seem more special than it is. Like this, like people rightly say, this is the normal. This is normal. This isn't anything different than it needs to be. This sort of stuff's happened for millions of years. I mean, totally off Star Wars now. You look at the Battle of Sparta, or those men. Again, what's Anthony put on here? I will definitely go back and say I was an idiot. I'm already going back to some of the things I didn't like about this. But
you're a good man, Anthony.
Yeah, but that's what we do as fans as well. We've got the right to go. We can comment on whatever we want. That's the whole point. It's the whole point of this group. Comment if you think it's absolutely atrocious, put that it's absolutely atrocious. Tell us why. I had no end of comments earlier. I think we're going to read a few of them out later, aren't we, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think so.
People both sides of the fence. I mean, there was one guy again. One of the comments will come on who's literally on the middle of the fence. And he's just going to be waiting until the final episode drops, which, again, it all just makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it just does kind of make the Jedi, and it's perspective. Oh, that's everything. If you look at, I mean, just think about imperialism, all that stuff. Like, you get two different views of everything. You get everything. If you have 20 people in a row, I always talk about my kids with this. If all of us are going somewhere together as a group and we see an accident, how many? So, I think we got lots of versions coming. I mean, they basically said that there's going to be another version of this episode. I think folks are taking witches too literally. This looks like an indigenous versus settlement colony framework. The Jedi are imposing their values on a marginalized group. Yeah, and I think that you're right, Ghost. It does make them look bad because, we have these rules. We're going to follow them no matter what.
Great point.
If you think about a group of people running around taking people's kids for no matter what, people are not going to be happy.
Of course.
Right? I don't care if you have your kid 5 seconds later, they're coming to get, you're still attached, and it's mind boggling to me. I think you're spot on there, Ghost, with that stuff.
It's a good point as well. And we said it about the stuff with Star Wars Visions, didn't we, Jimmy? That we noticed that the Sith, and we know that the Sith, they take their apprentices at quite a young age. They were taking all the kids, weren't they, in Star Wars Visions? Now we're seeing it from the Jedi point of view. However, if you notice, before they tell them that they need to train, obviously they turn, I think it's Master Endara turns around, or Sol, but they say to the mother, with your permission, of course.
Yeah. Mike says here, the episode really seems like from Osha's point of view. And I think that's the destiny, since we only got the one title. Her destiny is to become a Jedi. Well, supposedly. So now I want to know why she left and, what happened to her force powers and all that stuff too. But she's repressed a lot. Yeah, I think you're right. Trauma. I think that the way the Jedi acts is a reflection of her memories. Yeah, that's the thing too, is people just flying off the handle. And let's give the story time to develop. We'll go back, we'll rewatch it. And taking people's kids sounds like something that happened in America. Oh, ouch. You're not wrong. As a teacher of history and from Pennsylvania, when we have the School of Native American History, where they took Native American kids from their tribes, and the motto was "Kill the Indian, save the man." Trying to adopt them into that. And you have this throughout history. I'm not just going to bash on it, but on America, but because we can say lots of things about.
Well, these are all ideas and frameworks, like Ghost saying there, for TV shows and ideas.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. That's why I try to explain to kids in my classrooms, nothing that we see in television probably hasn't happened in history, and that's one of the reasons we call this episode the Reformation of the Force. All right, quick history lesson, folks. I'm sorry this is about to happen, but I'm gonna bring this up. So I don't like that view. I'll go like this. There we go. All right, we got the Reformation of the Force. If you're religious and you're not Catholic, you can thank that guy right here, Mr. Martin Luther. Okay, 1517. He's got his 95 thesis. He doesn't want to leave the church. He wants to stay with the Catholic Church, right? And it's the ghost wants me to lay it on him. And all he wants to do is he wants to fix things, right? But because of those cracks that start forming, and of course the Catholic Church fights really, really hard not to let go, because they know as soon as that door is kicked in and they allow someone else to do something, have a different version of religion. And that's what I think people are having a hard time holding on to, is a lot of people have only watched the movies, or they don't accept animation as whatever, because then the next thing, I bring up, bring that up. We got the Night Sisters. That's a Force religion group. Right. And most people love these characters. Mother Townsend, Asajj, her sisters, Taryn or Marin from the Jedi games.
Yeah.
You've got the Path of the Open Hand if you're reading the High Republic right now. You've got all these religions, especially the comic book series. Run the 10 episode run through phase 2 when they're on Jeddah, the move, from Rogue One. There's 15, 20 different groups that call the religion or call the Force something different. Some groups still call it the Force. Some people call it different, the thread or whatever. I don't know what's next here. Well, we'll come to that later. But yeah, and so to think that the Jedi were the only group that could control the Force or be affected by the Force, it's kind of silly, right? And it just, like we said, people use history, like, the biggest one, Stan Lee. I mean, all the stuff that he ties Marvel into, I mean, that all wraps around the history of the world. Let me see here. So,
no, you're definitely right there. Can I ask, are you all tired at all the whole tragically divided twins trope? We already did this with Luke and Leia now. I think it's different to the Luke and Leia stuff.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, that's the only set of twins. Well, I mean, there were Jedi twins and things like that we've seen, but I think, and I guess, again, Ghost, we'll have to wait and see if this turns out and they come back and, their story is the same. I think then we have to worry about it. But it's also, you could say the same thing about father figures and little kids. And you got the Mando and Grogu, and you've got the Bad Batch and Omega. Like, those stories came out simultaneously together. So as long as they keep it a little bit different, we got a history lesson. Rewatches are key. Star Wars is a weird way of getting better with time. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can vouch for that with The Last Jedi. I absolutely hated The Last Jedi. And then Sean Hudson was talking to me about it. So I watched it some more, asked him some questions why I thought this didn't make sense. He explained it to me. I looked at it a bit more, and now I don't love The Last Jedi. I tolerate it. I like it. I like it enough now. What else we got up here? Ghost. My deal with the animations is it feels like infantism. Rogue One is my jam. Adults making adult decisions and with adult consequences. Yeah, I get that. Rogue One's probably my favourite Star Wars film. But this is the fine balance we're going to have between this and obviously the upcoming Skeleton Crew. Again, we've just got to be, the biggest thing we've got to be mindful is that these actors are kids. I mean, look what happened to Jake from, I forgot his second name, Jake
Lloyd.
Yeah, Jake Lloyd from The Phantom Menace. That guy's struggling with mental health now not because of the amount of flack that he got, but I'm sure it definitely contributes towards what he's going through at the minute.
Yeah. Ghost, have you watched the Clone Wars or any of the animated shows? I was curious if you like this. I mean, like, I couldn't get through Resistance, and I haven't watched
I haven't watched Resistance.
Jedi or whatever, the little High Republic one.
Yeah, I haven't watched that either. Yeah.
And then on Instagram over here, we got Old Man Rex says you need a reason to want to watch 8 episodes. So I'm asking you, Rex, if you can respond. Jake already had mental health issues at that early of an age. I think some of the stuff they kind of piled onto him. But Old Man Rex, are you talking like we need a reason to watch 8 episodes because like they're only telling us parts of the story, or you think that they're not giving us enough to want to continue to watch 8 episodes? I guess. So where what?
Yeah, where do you stand with that? What do you mean by that? Because obviously, different people, different opinions, different views. Like I said, you can watch one episode and instantly decide it's not for you. That's totally fine. But some people, the amount of criticism that they're giving it, I think it's a bit unfair if you've only watched 45 minutes of
it. So yeah, Jake Lloyd has a rough go, kind of. And imagine that movie and that portrayal in a time with social media, because him and Ahmed Best, and Ahmed was older and able to handle it better, but he also almost committed suicide because of all the hate that he was getting.
Exactly.
A young kid in his formative years just getting trashed on by everybody. I don't know. I wish he would come out and talk about it and let people know more about what happened, what was, how things were. People would love to know, I think. But what does Ghost say here? I saw one episode of the Clone Wars. Yeah, the first 2 seasons, and I hate to say that because that's a lot of episodes, but
a lot.
Yeah, it builds up, man. It really tells a great story, and it makes
Yeah.
me go from not being a huge fan of the prequels to loving the prequels, especially the Attack of the Clones through
Yeah.
the Revenge of the Sith. It just kind of solidifies that. Great storytelling. Eventually, I think they kind of found their footing within the middle of the second season, maybe. So Anthony Goodman says, "Did any of us get through Resistance?" I don't
I
think we
don't think
have.
so.
So, yeah, some of the Clone Wars episodes, you wonder if.
Completely
Yeah,
agree.
man, there's some. We should talk about that sometime. There's some heavy stuff in the Clone Wars. Clones
Yeah.
wanting to have families, leaving the war. Why are we fighting? Backstab. I mean, these things are the kids cannot grasp.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's
all
an
right, so
interesting point.
Old Man Rex says on Instagram, the first 3 episodes gave such a bad example of acting. Okay, story,
Yeah.
etc. Make me not want to watch anymore. I'm happy to answer any questions on why this is bad. Not one episode, but I rewatched all 3. All right. Bad acting. I think that the little girls being kids weren't great.
I'd
But
be interested to know from Old Man Rex as well. I mean, valid points completely. If you think that the acting's bad, who do you think in terms of acting is the worst actor? As in, do you think it's Amanda Stenberg, or would you even say Carrie-Anne Moss? And
they're all really robotic, I feel like, except for Soul.
yeah,
He
Saul's a bit more
says,
fluid, isn't he?
Old Man Rex says, episodes again, and my non-Star Wars friends who come over for Star Wars on Tuesdays laugh so hard at all the Acolyte episodes, I cannot defend it. All right, well,
Fair
the guy
enough.
who plays the dumb Jedi? Oh, are you talking about you're talking about on that in episode 2, that kind of heavier set, kind of like, hey, we got this kid.
Yeah,
That acting wasn't that wasn't great. It did make the Jedi look kind of silly.
yeah. It does, because it does destroy. Obviously, we've all grown up with Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi being, the pinnacle of Jedis. We've never really been introduced to a Jedi that's been bad at his job. I think that's what's shaking a lot of people up.
Yeah, and I think too, I don't know, maybe it's my day job when I see things like this, because being a teacher, I see all kinds of kids, and you've got kids that are very stoic, and you've got kids who are knuckleheads, and but they're all kids and they're finding their way, and so it's hard to type the answer fully. All right, well, hit us up with an email or something, Old Man Rex, at
Yeah,
exploretheforce@gmail.com, or DM us or something. I'd love to know, uh, where you're coming from, because I mean, I don't see it. I mean, I see some of the stuff you're saying, and I think I know
yeah,
who you're talking about, but um, I don't want to put words in your mouth for you either. I'm not, some of these other content creators, but the Animatrix, yeah, the Matrix took it to another level with the Animatrix stuff.
yeah.
No, not really. I don't think.
No,
No,
no.
the last couple episodes of season 7 are pretty badass.
Oh, really good.
Clone Wars. Yeah,
Ghost. Yeah,
yeah. Well, yeah, Space
yeah,
Trinity.
yeah.
So, Old Man
No,
Rex
but
says, "I'm not speaking from a place of hate at all." No, I don't think you are.
no.
I appreciate you being civil and giving us honest answers, because,
Yeah,
uh,
100%. This is what we're about.
yeah, I'm being
I love
critical of
discussing it like
mainstream shows.
this. I think it's
Yeah,
brilliant. But
yeah,
I'd also be interested to say to Rex as well. Obviously, you're getting all these people over that are hating on Star Wars as well with you. Is that like a regular thing that you have people over that don't like Star Wars? Have you watched any of the episodes before they've arrived, or do you think as well sometimes they might influence you? And on top of all of that, what I've just mentioned, what Star Wars stuff do you like? Because it might be a case as well that it's generally not for you, because you might be more Clone Wars or Ahsoka orientated, because all these live action shows are completely different to each other, I think.
yeah. They have not been the same, which is great. I mean,
I think so.
that was one of the cool things about, like, Marvel started. Everything was so different, and this is giving us a different. I don't want the same thing. I don't. Maybe that's some of the people, they just want the same stuff over and over again. But I
Yeah.
feel like, and it is difficult though, because they're trying to grow a franchise, but they're growing it from the middle, the beginning, the end. Like, it's not just like they're moving forward with everything. They're kind of like trying to,
Yeah.
like, slip things in, and I do think it makes it difficult. And you've got to be a little bit more open-minded and be
Yeah.
like, okay, well, it's just like, it's the perfect example was Luke and Leia kiss, right? that's supposed to be something completely different than it is. I mean, she's just trying to make Han jealous, but they would not Luke or Lucas would not have had that done if he had decided before that movie came out that those two were going to be brother and sister. That was something that happened between 1980 and 1983.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
so.
then it completely throws you off the scent that Vader is related to Luke and Luke is related to Leia as well. So it all added up to a degree. Anthony there's put the Genndy Tarkovsky animated show is also well worth a watch for anyone who's not watched any animation as well. Yeah, completely agree. Ghosts is put, I run in some Trekkie circles and they are brutal to Star Wars fans. I dig them both. I don't mind a bit of Star Trek.
Yeah, my dad was a big Star Trek guy, so I can get into that. Gonna check that out. And then I'm from the South. Luke and Leia kissing is just normal.
America.
Old Man Rex says, my Star Wars nights are designed to get my friends into Star Wars, which I applaud that, man. That's awesome. I've recruited people who now love Star Wars, and I asked him what has been your favorite shows, and he says it's only important to be critical in an honest way. If we cannot critique honestly, how can they possibly know what the fandom wants? Yeah, 100%, man. I agree with that.
Keep doing that.
Yeah, keep doing that. Keep. I've had my buddy Tim over the last two. Well, we had him over to watch the first two because we were gone in Vegas, and then he came over Tuesday night, and we had Taco Tuesdays and
nice
the Acolyte. So, but
keep doing what you're doing, Rex, and by all means share our podcast term Explore the Force, because I'd love to do a live episode literally called like the positive versus negative, where it's just full of people who love it and hate it. Okay, what's he putting on there? Ghost is saying Star Wars on trial. Science fiction and fantasy writers debate the most popular science fiction films of all time. I've not read that. Have you, Jimmy?
I have not, but I'm kind of curious. And if someone has posted, though, they posted this thing from, I think it was the 90s, of people just destroying Lucas. And they're like, these are the same people who are destroying, going after Leslie Headland. And again, you don't have to like this show. If it's not for you, all you want is lightsaber duels, I'm sure that episode 3 was not for you, but
I think the issue is people that are purposely just going after him. If they spent that much energy on themselves and what they'd enjoy, I think they'd be a lot happier.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to talk my accent. Might be a problem. Let me see. We're going to find out where Old Man Rex is from here in a second.
Yeah. Ghost has just put, some folks have argued that it's the Jedi who are the bad guys and the Empire is the good guys. Ghost, some of the people I cosplay with in the UKG have constantly said that. Me being a sand trooper, I'll always say that as well. Just all depends on the point of view. He's also put hard pill for me to swallow, but I think it's interesting. Yeah, for sure. And that's the beauty of Star Wars. You look at it from both sides, and you can be on both sides. I think really that's where the major difference is between the First Order and the Empire, because the Empire had a goal to a degree, but what's might put the Empire shows they are evil all the time, but Jedi stealing kids makes you pause. Yes, but don't forget that the Empire is also stealing kids and also making kids homeless and blowing up planets.
Yeah. I mean, you sit there and you read some of the books and things like that, and the people that are in the Empire. And that's the thing, too, is like if you don't read the books, and I'm not saying you have to, and maybe they should make a TV show from the Empire side of things. Because like if you read Lost Stars, right, that like star-crossed lovers, book that's very popular, very good. Two of these characters that go off to join the Empire, they fully believe in the mission, and then one's like, whoa, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I see what we're doing. I can't stand for that. And he ends up going and joining, the rebellion and stuff. But yeah, I think maybe that would be a good story to tell. Like show something from, because every time we get them, no offense, Jack, but I still sometimes think that the the Empire is more based off the British during imperialism than it is off the Nazis. Because, not a lot of them have German accents. I'm just saying.
That's why the Empire was so successful then. I'll take that. But it's interesting that you said that, mate, because I'm reading a book from a certain point of view. Spoiler alert, but one of the stories in there talks from the point of view of a stormtrooper that is on the boarding party for when Vader gets on and they get the Princess Leia. Essentially, the stormtrooper is the guy that stuns her, and all he does is make eye contact with her. And essentially, long story short, as she's being led off, he takes his helmet off and looks back at her, and she sort of smiles, and he sort of smiles back. And it's at that point he says, like, he's not sure what he's doing. I think they tried to go that way with Finn as well. But yeah, going back towards the Acolytes, we're going a bit off topic there, I think. Going back towards the Acolyte, I think we're going to see certain things from certain points of view which will make more sense. And I still think that the Sith is no clearer to it. I've seen a couple of things saying it's that Zabrak, is it? Is that how you pronounce it? The alien with horns. I don't think it's her.
Well, I want to show people, this is. Let me see if I can share this. I'm going to present. I'm going to try to get my screen. Share screen. I'm going to do this. Here we go. So if you take a look, I don't know how easy this is for everyone to see or not. I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger for you. I mean, this is, if you type in, I think I typed in Acolyte episode 3. You've got Critical Drinker, who is, he's on TV shows and things like that. I'm done. I'm so done with Star Wars. And so is Star Wars. Absolute garbage. Does it break Star Wars? I haven't watched some of these. The Acolyte does destroy Star Wars. I don't understand. Is an abomination fan destroy this Disney Star Wars? Where's everything through the clouded from a certain point of view? No, Thor is always kind of in the middle. He tries to find the positives. Just broke Star Wars. You got Star Wars comics. Mike Zero spread more of his nonsense. This will break Star Wars forever. Some of these were pre because we had started hearing things about this, and people were talking about how graphic it was going to be. I'm like, y'all, this is Disney still. Like, they're not going to get crazy. So
yeah, it's great, Mike.
Mike is a connoisseur of books. When he's delivering the mail, he's pounding the books.
It's brilliant.
Audio books. The Death Star did have an amazing trash compactor and recycling system. Carbon footprints. There we go. Ghosts. A little bit more conscientious. All right, lesbian witch is fine.
Yeah, okay. This was one of my gripes as well.
Yes, this weird laughing, screaming witch. Wayne, it may be you and I were talking about this on Facebook. That definitely was like unnecessary. I get it, you're a coven of witches, but you're not in Salem. You're not, you're not. I just thought that was.
I didn't get the whole. Was it the power of one, the power of two, the power of many? Like the song killed me off.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of people. Yeah, I kind of know what they were going for. They're trying to make it. I just don't feel like maybe they didn't nail the writing on.
I don't think they needed to. They were on top of a hill. It was moonlight. There's a pit of darkness. They're all dressed crazy with long nails.
And the moon's lining up, or whatever. The moon's lining up and giving us that symbol for the Acolyte, the circle. I thought the compound they were in. I thought that stuff all looked amazing to me. I know people are like, oh, this show looks cheap. I'm like, oh, that was one of the coolest things. That looks so Star Wars to me. You've got a mountain. You've got a compound built into the mountain. You got a big scary pit. What else do you want? You got two moons coming in and hitting, and it's blue and it's red. And I loved it. I thought, I was just eating that up.
Well, I've been listening to Darth Plagueis, and isn't Bendark the planet that's in the book? Bendark.
Oh, I don't know. To be honest, I haven't read it.
It might be because of the mining accident thing in the book. But what's Anthony put there, mate? Who do we think the title of the show is referring to? The obvious choices made, but Manny. Xantorius characters.
Yeah, that's Chimera. Yeah, I think Acolyte might just be kind of like, some people were discussing like with the Mandalorian, where it doesn't say it doesn't say Din Djarin, it says the Mandalorian, and they're all Mandalorians. It's vague enough; it can mean a lot of different people. Because I personally think that May and Chimera are both kind of acolytes, or maybe they're just apprentices, and that saber wielding, you know, zipper face is.
Yeah.
What if he's the acolyte? What if he's trying to get people to help him beat? You know, we don't know enough, but yeah, I think the easy one is May because they show her being mean to that butterfly.
Yeah.
So
Wayne, I literally love to do a live watch with the Cooper Smiths. Honestly.
So, but yeah, I think right off the bat, I would have to say May.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be that simple.
So my wife, similar to yours, isn't a massive Star Wars fan, but she watched it. She enjoyed it quite a lot. She said, you know, there's quite a bit of story to it straight away. And again, she mentioned the fact that she feels like things have been made obvious for a reason. She said as well, and this is unusual for Christy, because we'll sit there watching anything, and halfway through it, especially like the murder mystery stuff or where there's a bit of a backstory, she knows what's going to happen at the end. She'll pick it apart straight away and she'll tell me, and then funnily enough, it'll happen. But with this, she said that's one of the first things she's watched, and she's not sure what could happen or who it could be. So I think going back to earlier comments where, you know, people are saying the writing's bad. I don't think the writing's bad at all. They've just got young children actors that aren't brilliant at acting, is what I'd say. But even now, I don't think they're that bad. Principal Gaming joined late. Howdy, fellas.
Howdy. Whoa, that's on your. Sorry, that was
some
on
some force food going on.
Force food going on there. So, but yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find some of the stuff that we posted and get some information off of those. Gotta find that force food.
Just while you're doing that as well, something I noticed in the episode, which I thought was quite not so much strange, was Torben, how easily his mind was taken, so to speak, by the mother.
I think she's pretty powerful. And she was all jacked up on the thread, you know.
Did you notice as well when she had like the force in her hand, you could sort of see it?
Yeah, that was cool.
I like that.
Yeah, I did too. Pod Racing Palpatine just got here. That's an awesome
class.
Awesome,
what a name.
What a great name. Yeah. Well, how did you guys feel about that? How did you feel about her being able to pull the thread and see gotta bounce. Nice to meet y'all. Thanks for joining us, Ghost. Hopefully we'll see you again.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, Ghost, if you can, so you can catch us again next time if you haven't already.
Man. Great comment.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, appreciate it.
But yeah, how do you guys feel about being able to see? I thought that was cool, like, you know, shimmer to it. And this is not for me the first time it's been defined as a thread, because in the first young reader book, I believe, or middle grade book, whatever you want to call it, I can never tell the difference. The one of the Jedi sees the Force's threads that are all connected, and each one has like, it kind of like matches their saber color.
Yeah.
And things like that. So that was pretty cool.
I think they get that idea from, you remember Hercules, the Disney animated show, where the witches have the threads and they cut them?
Yes. Yeah, that's some stuff from like Ahsoka, those three witches, like all renamed as the Fates and things like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, take care, Ghost. One of the other comments that I had that we had on our Explore the Force Facebook group, again, it's free to join, just search it up on Facebook, Explore the Force. It's really interesting. So Chris, his son, Kai, didn't like the episode because he said that Wookiees shouldn't be wearing clothes. I thought that was hilarious. And I also think that's a really good point. I get to a degree why, because how else is he going to carry the lightsaber? He hasn't got a belt on, or etc.
Tug on the hair, that hurt.
Yeah, but you see in the end of episode 2, though, he's got no Jedi robes on or anything.
He's running around naked.
Yeah. So is it a naked Wookiee though?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
But yeah, it was overall, I thought it was an okay story. It'd be interesting to see what they do. I think episode 4 is going to be a repeat of episode 3, perhaps, but from a different point of view.
Yeah. Old Man Rex wants to know, because we're talking about Wookiees. He's from Vancouver. He's from Simru. I'm not saying that right. I'll have to look that up. He wants to know, why did the Wookiee have a shaved head like a monk? And I think he lost a bet Old Man Rex.
Yeah, I think so as well. He definitely lost.
Figured that one out. Maybe he lost a bet, picked the wrong was it Powerball or whatever they play, the football version. Wales. Okay, he's from Wales. All right, we got friends from Wales. We'll be all right.
I'm based in Wales.
Yeah.
What's Principal Gaming put there, Jimmy?
Oh, yep. Give me 1 second here. He says that Wookiees shouldn't be wearing clothes. They traditionally wore accessories, but not full on. Yeah, I mean, Chewie just had his bandolier.
Yeah.
He also says naked Wookiees.
Again, whatever you're into, Principal Gaming.
Whatever you're into, Principal Gaming. I love it. Anthony Goodman, one of the things I was critical of was using witches again, but the way they showed them using the Force thread is very cool.
I agree. So, I agree. They could have gone down the route of being more Dathomirian, more Night Sisters, but I like the fact it's totally different. It was totally different religions. Like you said, if you think of the Force like Catholicism, if that's a word, and then again you've got all these different types of religion around. It's just like real life in my eyes. I don't want to go down that route because obviously a bit political for people, etc., etc. But it makes sense to me, and that's how I sort of look at it.
Yeah, I mean that was my whole. I wrote a 3-page essay yesterday on the Catholic Reformation and in this episode of Star Wars, pulling in from all the different things. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I may have just needed to get it out of my system, but yeah, I mean this is mirroring real life. Star Wars has always done that. No matter what people say, it has always been a little political, a little this, a little that. I mean, everything copies from, I mean, most of the things that we watch is, as a geekdom, as a fandom of different things, is that, things that have actually happened. So,
yeah, but I think that's where it's got to be careful as well, because remember, right back to George Lucas, and I think it was Carrie Fisher, rest her soul, was saying, Star Wars is that place where you get away from the real world.
Yes. I think maybe it's more of a guiding presence, like, because we've seen this a lot. We've seen it for the most part. It was just the sisters, Night Sisters, and they're using magic, and sometimes they call it the Force, but then Dooku and Palpatine, them were all a little bit nervous of them. And then, of course, we see it in the second phase of the High Republic. I mean, that's the whole second phase, is a religious group that stands up to. Now, they're not very nice. They're not very good people, and things change, and it changes in something else. But, and then the comic run, too, you get to see Jedha, and you get to see Jedi there trying to counsel and get everyone to get along. Like, hey, we're all worshiping the same God. We're just doing it a little bit differently. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, and that's what, I mean, but Old Man Rex says no problem with multiple groups using the Force. They brought that up in the Clone Wars. Remember Jar Jar's? Yes, I remember that episode. Yeah, him and Mace Windu episode, right, where they're saving his girlfriend, Jar Jar's girlfriend. I can't think of what her name is off the top of my head, but what did that young Padawan witness or do to take the vow and encase himself in that force field? Yeah, Wayne, I think that we're either getting that in episode 4 or episode 5.
I think so.
I'm not sure if they're going to push. Because there's a few things we haven't seen yet from the trailers, and I'm assuming that's all from like episode 4. So maybe we're going to get that then. Who knows? I mean, Kalnaka still. I mean, whatever. But yeah, I think you're right. If I had to say right now, like if you put a gun to my head, lightsaber to my head, what happened in there? I think the version that we saw yesterday, or let's say Thursday. So what we saw Tuesday was like Osha's point of view, because she didn't really see what happened. I think the Jedi were in there. Stuff went south. I think that either Kalnak or Torben get brainwashed again because they're fighting with each other, it looks like.
Yeah.
I think the Jedi, especially the way Disney, love it or hate it, the way they deal with lightsabers, where they don't really slice things off or slice people in half, or people just fall over dead. I think that the Jedi went in there, and I think that the Zabrak mother, Coral, I think she stood up to him, and I think they got into a fight, and I think that he's going to be dealing with the fact that he probably killed innocents. That's my theory.
Yeah, I think so.
That's based on nothing that I know. I mean, I don't have any inside information. That's just for it to make sense in my head right now. It has to be way more and something terrible, and that's the terrible thing I could think of. They went in there to get the girls, and a fight breaks out. They kill innocents, in a way.
Yeah, there's so much more to it, because it's not a case of these two girls that just happen to find them. There's loads more to this, I think, because I just think there's more to it because, first off, what I'm looking at is it's taken 4 Jedi to go pick up 2 girls. Normally it's like 1, maybe 2, but there's
Yeah.
4 Jedis.
Yeah.
Next is how extreme of an approach it is. They had to slice their way in to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, they broke in.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't, you got Soul out there creeping. I think Tiara pointed out she was pretty upset to see, Soul out there being a creeper following the girls. And then he kind of gives himself away with the stuff he says later on and upsets the sisters of the coven. Do we know what the coven's called? Is it the Coven of the Thread, or I saw that
No,
somewhere?
I don't think it's been said. I think it's just Coven of Witches.
Yet. But yeah. It doesn't bode well. That's what Mike say here. He goes, I'm betting Torben is a scared cop that overreacts and does something terrible he can't ever take back. Yeah, he's young. Like Jack said, he had his mind warped for a second. What if he popped off and he uses the Force or does something crazy and it just makes all hell break loose. Yeah, kind of like pull someone's arms out of their socket. Who knows? It's not wise to upset a Wookiee.
No, it's not.
He is a Jedi.
Coven of Thread.
It's all right. Reaper Soul did tell me. But yeah, it's handled in a great way. And then even the witches even talked about having to escape. They were hunted, and that's what gave the Path of the Open Hand kind of vibes. Is like, and then of course they say unnatural, dark and unnatural, kind of Palpatine-esque. And so
I just keep thinking it just sticks with me. I've said it before. It sticks with me that how I'm watching this is it's through the eyes of a Sith, and it's the case of the fear that they had when the Jedi came in is the fear that people had when the Empire came to a planet or the Inquisitors were in that bar on Tatooine looking for Kenobi or looking for a Jedi.
Yeah. Pod Racer Palpatine, you made me laugh, man. It's part of the Jedi code. Witches get stitches. We got about 8 minutes left. I think we need to talk about the twins and their conception, I guess. Do we have enough information? The uproar is that this has rewritten Star Wars. It makes Anakin's birth. I think they're different. I think that the Force created Anakin. And I think those sisters manipulated the Force, maybe even took it away from somebody else, drained somebody possibly to create the twins. Like, because they talk about being dark and unnatural. I don't think that the birth, the conception is the same thing. I think the Force itself, in my headcanon, creates creates Anakin to balance things because he knows that Palpatine's coming and things just kind of go sideways for a while.
Yeah.
In my headcanon, I feel like, because I thought when Osha was crawling through those tunnels, I thought she was going to run into like some kind of prisoner, like some men or something like all like emaciated, like almost, like they've been starved.
Yeah.
Force. I think that's how they were created. Of course, there's people out there being vulgar and things like that, but who knows?
Yeah. I think they've got to be extremely careful with it because people sort of still aren't over how Anakin was conceived to a degree.
Well, that's the thing too. How are you going to argue something when we don't even know what the truth about Anakin is, and they're never going to tell us that?
I think it might give people more questions or more answers. Sorry, because again, you've got the Rise of Skywalker where the Emperor's come back. But again, me reading Darth Plagueis at the minute is it opens your mind. You can sort of understand why it's why people can get conceived. Now, you've got to look at it from a point of view of people that aren't interested in the books, they're not interested in animation, they're not interested in anything apart from live action and cinema. And I would agree with everyone there that it would confuse the hell out of people. You'd be like, what the heck is going on? You definitely would. So they've got to tie, I think they're trying to tie everything in. They've got to really back carefully. Anthony Goodman said, is ever actually been said in canon that the Sith created Anakin? I think it's only into that in a comic somewhere. Yeah, I don't think it's actually been said as it.
Oh, go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
I don't think it's actually been said anywhere. The biggest thing at the minute is midichlorians being manipulated so people can make force sensitive people. That's the easiest way to think of it. Midichlorians are being manipulated to make force sensitive people and to extend life, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like we have enough information to say that they've ruined canon. I don't think we have enough information to say that they haven't ruined canon.
Yeah.
I don't think canon has decided what it wants to have happen. But it's just one of those mysteries. And, you know, are they going to tell us how it happened? Who knows? I just, in my mind, I think I separate them. I feel like they're different. But that's me. I get it. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm definitely not speaking for.
So I'm different to you, Jim, because I think it's the same thing.
Yeah. I have a hard time believing that those sisters are that powerful, but they are talking about the group of, you know, power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Next cosplay sorted.
Yeah, I'm going to cosplay one of the sisters of the thread, but, so, no, witches get stitches.
I think
make a t-shirt. Witches get stitches.
Yeah, they've got to address this. I think they will address it as well. And let's not forget as well, we've got the Mandalorian film coming up, which I think will address the Emperor's Return a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, they're slowly trying to make sense of that, and who knows. I can see why people are upset, but I think you have to be patient. I do think some of it has to do with wanting viewers.
Yeah,
I think some of it, and then some of these guys are really angry. I can't bring myself to like really listen to a lot of them because they make me angry because of some of the things and some of the way they say things it's pretty offensive. But you know, we're not saying that you're wrong if you didn't like it or if you think it's ruined canon. Like, tell us how you think it's ruined canon. You know, like Old Man Rex didn't think the acting is very good or the writing is very good. Like,
I was about to say, I'll tip my hat off to Rex tonight of everyone that we've spoken to so far. You know, he's getting all his friends coming over. They don't like it. It's not affecting him to a degree, obviously, but he's still keeping with it. And yeah, my hat's off to Rex at the minute. Hopefully he joins in on more conversations.
Rex, where's my invite? I want to come over and watch Star Wars on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Watching it again, I liked it more, says Wayne.
Yeah.
Cynical side of my brain says that this is yet another attempt to just undercut the establishment of Anakin as the chosen one. Yeah, I hope not, Principal. I mean, if you're right, and it is, then that does kind of suck. Like, I will be the first person to be like, if you're intentionally trying to weaken Anakin, then I'd be kind of mad.
Is Anakin the chosen one?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Is it Luke?
We'll look after a future episode on this.
Yeah. What do we say here? Being conceived through nothing but the Force, no big deal. We've done that before.
Yeah.
What else we got? Do we think the Sith showed them how to create Force-sensitive kids? So many questions. Yeah. Oh my gosh, who was it? Maybe it was last night or Tuesday night. We were talking. And I have watched some content in between then and now. We could have, you know, people think maybe that Acolyte, maybe those sisters met up with a dark side user and they showed them, or maybe this is a test run to create Anakin. Like, there's all these different things.
Yeah.
George has said Anakin is the chosen one. And Old Man Rex also says we have pizza and Star Wars every Tuesday. So, right.
Send the invites.
Yeah.
Send the invites. I think as well, one big one, this is sort of just popped into my head. What if Shimmy, right? What if Shimmy was Shimmy is one of the witches and she escaped to Tatooine?
Anthony Goodman getting to fire people up. Is Rey the chosen one? Yeah.
What if there's more?
Yeah, I mean, I think because it's a prophecy. Prophecies aren't absolutes because only Sith deal in absolutes. But you know, and you can almost question, you know, any kind of prophecy can be interpreted different ways.
Yeah.
Different things. Every group, think about religion. All these groups have similar ideas. People may have different names, but if you study world religions, not just Christianity, most of these religions are about living a good life, doing the right thing, treating people with kindness, and then going to the good place after you're done. Unless you're a Viking, then it's all about war and Valhalla and all those cool things, right? But living a good life, doing that kind of thing. So we'll see. I think we've got 5 more episodes for things to be hashed out, and maybe they don't get hashed out this season, right? I mean, they've already said that they're talking about a season 2. They don't have. I mean, we watch TV. Anyone in here watch The Blacklist? Has anyone watched that show? It's like 47 seasons, and they still haven't answered like the one big question from episode 1. So it's like, and that's a pretty popular show. So there's testament to the TV show Lost. They don't explain anything until the very end. Like,
It's I used to love that when I was a kid.
Yeah. So that's because you're just a young pup.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I think that about wraps it up, doesn't it, Jimmy? I've got nothing else really to say.
And Goodman says, "What if the chosen one is a generational thing?" Also, I'm not trying to fire people up.
Ooh, good one to end on.
Yeah, I mean that. What if it is every generation? I mean, they say it in their own
they
thing.
do.
Every generation has, was that the Phantom Menace trailer?
And they keep piping on. It's 100 years before, which would be a generation.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe
Anthony Goodman's unveiled.
My man Balin Skull says that the Jedi just keep repeating themselves, just like like a good history teacher teaches. The cycle keeps happening. What if this is just another part of that cycle, and this one ends and Anakin starts?
Indeed, that's a great comment to finish on. I love that, Anthony.
So
brilliant. I think we're done. Anything else to finish on, Jimmy?
I think that should be it. I just want to thank everybody on Instagram. Old Man Rex. Hopefully I'll see you next Tuesday with some pizza and some Star Wars. Thanks for being honest, man. I appreciate it. If you want to, like I said, shoot us an email or something, or get in contact with. I would love to talk to you more about your points of view. Everyone on YouTube, thank you guys so much for joining us. What's this last thing say? The chosen one wouldn't matter if they literally get another crack at a chosen one every 10 years. Yeah, it would take away from it. That's true. Okay. Yeah, we can directly look at the state of the galaxy for evidence of Anakin being the chosen one compared to other points in time.
Yeah.
So chat, gents, whoever stays healthy. Yeah, you too, bud. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks again. Like Jimmy's saying to everyone on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everyone that's commenting on all the posts. I mean, we had over 40 comments on our Facebook group. Again, Explore the Force. Please keep liking, sharing, subscribe on YouTube, please, because it really does help. Explore the Force, all one word. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, and YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. We've got a interesting episode, extra special guest coming up next week. You do not want to miss it as well. I'm not going to give any hints or clues. Actually, I was going to then, Jimmy, but I won't. It's a big guest, probably one of the biggest guests that we've had, I'd say, Jimmy.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Not going to lie to you. I'm still like, woo, fun stuff.
Yeah. How we got that person, I don't know. But yes, thank you so much to everyone joining us. From myself, love what you love, respect what you don't. There's enough Star Wars out there for everyone.
Absolutely. And for all of us, lots of great comments tonight, depending on where you're at in the world. We all have spoken. We'll see you guys next time.
Good night.
Maybe if I can end this.